Okay, the clock. Sorry, that ending was terrible. Um, I do edit these sometimes if I think I need to. I do this from my webcam, so sometimes the images are kind of weird, but and sometimes I usually don't write a script for these, just because I want my thoughts to flow freely. So because this is it's just like I'm talking to a camera right now, but like a crazy person. But um, the clock of Dead Rising, very much so, is probably the most innovative part of Dead Rising. Um, it's probably the only thing that isn't borrowed from another game. Um, while all the other aspects are borrowed and help really integrate and make the game unique, the clock is something that's very unique, and but it's also what's turned a lot of people off of the game, and that's because, well, they just want to have fun and kill zombies, and that's fine. You actually unlock a mode where you get a limited time after a while, but a lot of people found this, it adds too much hectic, too much tension to the game, there's too much, I feel so much pressure. But that's part of the survival horror aspect of it, is that in real life, you wouldn't have time to save all these people. In real life, you wouldn't have time to kill all these psychopaths. In real life, you wouldn't have time to do all of this. And adds to making the game intense, and help keeping it full of life and adding to its unique flavor. And I realize it's not for everyone, but they have to respect its innovation and the fact that it's very much a unique part of the series. And I see they went back. There was talk of Capcom with 2 getting rid of the time mechanic and adding more of like an episodic kind of thing. I see that was dropped in favor of we got back the 72-hour clock. I know you can't see it, but the 72-hour clock is back, which I'm all about. I think it's great, and they added another dimension to the tension of gameplay. The main character's daughter is infected, and you have to find her. Shots to cure her every so often. I think it's like every 8 hours or something, and adds another tension and deeper aspect to the gameplay. And so it helps build the tension more, and also add more of that feeling of, dread and, oh god, I'm not going to be able to do all this. But that also adds to one of the greatest integration I've seen ever of multiple endings and replay value. Dead Rising probably is the game I've seen that has the greatest replay value of any game ever made, ever. Sure, there's other games that do really well. Mass Effect, another one comes to mind that does well with multiple endings and all that. I'm going to make an episode about Mass Effect. I'm not the biggest Mass Effect fan. I'll talk about that in another episode. But for example's sake, another game that comes to example, because Mass Effect is a game that is able to carry multiple, and it's going to be made part of a trilogy. It's all going to follow through, and so it's going to be really cool. That's the only other game that I can think of that replay value is going to be insanely good for. Dead Rising is the best game I've seen, that the standalone game, it just by itself, has the best replay value. There are a bunch of different endings. I think it's only, and a lot of them don't vary, but there's no way you're going to be able to see everything you want to see in the game one time through. There's no way that can happen. And no way you can do all the missions, and no way you can rescue all the survivors. It forces you to go back in and try to look for things again. And go in and see if you can find all the little secrets, and there's a lot of secrets in Dead Rising. A lot of just fun little quirky things. From what I've seen, the second one has even more. And so I'm really excited to dig into the second one and see all what's there. I never owned Dead Rising on 360. I'd like to thank my buddy Nate for letting me go through all of it. But I did get the Wii version of the game, which is which is an interesting topic. Just gonna say a few words on that one. The game is. Well, I had mentioned that it was Dead Rising quite possibly could have been an evolution of Resident Evil. The Wii version of Dead Rising definitely is. It's, to me, it felt like an alternate Resident Evil 4. Because it runs off Resident Evil 4 Wii's engine. And it shows, and the game plays like a Resident Evil. It means to me that it was developed like a... I had tons of fun with it because I just thought about Resident Evil the whole time. And I already knew Dead Rising's story and everything, so I had a lot of fun with the game. Yes, because it's on Wii, there are multiple limitations. Compared to the 360 version, there are not nearly as many zombies on screen. Some of the psychopaths have been changed to zombies, like reoccurring special zombies. But the game is just... It's a lot of fun. It's very gun-based, something that the first one was lacking. A lot of good polish with the guns. And it's something that that Chop Till You Drop, is the Wii version's name, embraces really well and adds... I'm glad I was able to play both, because they both have their good spots, and it's a really cool way to look at Dead Rising. And the game does not have the time mechanic. So it's interesting to see what the game is like without the time mechanic. And it actually is pretty successful. It's not as unique, and there isn't nearly as much replay value now that they took out the time mechanic. But they still integrated things really well. You get to do all the missions the first time playthrough. So it's cool, and they have some like modes after you beat it to kind of make up for the fact that some of the psychopaths were killed, or psychopaths weren't in the game. Some of them are in the missions after you beat the game, to kind of help make up for that fact. Not all the psychopaths are in it, though. I think there's only a few that were cut, but there weren't a lot. But and there's some like odd moments, like they let you actually go into the theater at one point, even though the rest of the game is all locked off. I mean, there's some really weird things with it. But I really liked it. Especially having to be able to play both. They both have their good, and they both have their good points, and they complement each other well. So that's the way I see it. So just thinking about, I know I listed all these things that Dead Rising did that was revolutionary, and so I make the bold statement that Dead Rising is quite possibly the most interesting and innovative game ever. I wouldn't say influential, but innovative. It pushes all these elements in so many ways that no other games do. No other game embraces and makes these things. No game in recent memory has pushed this many, not so much new, but different ideas together in a way that's so unique and so different. Let's think about a few games that have been released recently. Call of Duty, Modern Warfare. It's just a modified first shooter. It's a good game, but is there anything really, really innovative about it? No, the multiplayer is just... it's tweaked and improved versions of, online multiplayer that's been seen in Counter-Strike, seen in so many other games. It's good. No, it's good. But it does nothing to push forward. There's nothing in it that, because of Dead Rising's... It's always said that innovation is always flawed. And Dead Rising definitely is... It's not a perfect game. Not by any means. But it's bold and takes chances and integrates so many new things. It's one of the most unique experiences ever. Granted, there are other games that come close, like Portal, but Portal's very short. Portal is too just another first-person shooter, but that causes puzzles. But there isn't that much. It has one little shtick. Dead Rising has so many. I mean, that's why I say most. You don't think so? Disagree with me? send me a game and I'll put it under review.